Welcome, everybody, to episode 57 of the effing title. And today we have one of my newest friends as a guest. We've been friends for almost a year now. He is a fellow Rhine brother and overall a great guy. You're going to hear a fucking incredible laugh from him at some points tonight, which absolutely warms my soul. My guest tonight is none other than StoopGhost. But is it okay if I call you Coop?
It absolutely is okay. Coop even rhymes with Stoop. So it's kind of by design. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Oh my God.
Hey, thank you for coming. How was the intro? Did you like that?
I loved it. You even cited the laugh, and I was like, oh.
That's honestly, it's one of many things that I do love about you. But your laugh is just it's so like genuine and so honest, and that's the thing that I think I like most about it. You know, because like I work with someone, and her laugh, she literally is like, huh, "That's funny." That's her laugh.
Oh, that's always the worst.
I can't stand it. So like a genuine like laugher, because like if you can get me laughing, you'll start hearing me snorting. I'm fucking losing like color in my face, like I'm losing breath, sort of thing. So,
dude, I completely understand the feeling.
But all right, so why don't you tell? Because of course I know who you are. Everyone out there doesn't know who you are. So tell the good people a little bit about yourself, Coop.
All right, y'all. My name is Coop. I am generally, I think, the largest weeb you might know. And I have a very short list about myself. I like the color gray. I play video games. I stream StoopGhost. I go by that. And I'm, an incredibly nervous person when talking about myself. These things need to come out naturally. I love anime. And I love all things nerd, I guess. And I love music. I do a lot of things. I'm a lot of things. I'm just going to say I'm a lot of things, and it's up to you all to deduce what of those things that you want to listen to and or deal with.
Which one of these things? Like which one of these things do you want to actually listen to?
I want to say, which one of these things do you want from me? I'm a people pleaser. I love the people.
I will say, very, very. Wasn't expecting you to say my favorite color is gray. You don't hear that a lot.
Well, yeah, actually, it's in my it's in my little bio on Twitch, which I have a very bare bones Twitch because I'm a very simple person, and in it, I think it reads, "I like cigarettes, grilled cheese, and the color gray."
See, now that you say that, I have to fucking look at this because I had no fucking clue here. So,
yep.
Yo, I go by the name Coop. StoopGhost, you can call me Stoop or Coop. Either way, I'm a variety streamer. Okay, so maybe it's not on that one. Maybe it's in...
No. It's under my about on the actual page.
Okay.
I did that one later once I realized that the other one was really just like.
Okay, so I fucking love this. So here we go. Yo, the name's Coop. I like the color gray, grilled cheese, cigarettes, and video games. I know. Boring, right? That's fucking beautiful. I fucking love that.
Yeah, gray has been my favorite color for like as long as I can remember. Actually,
that's I wasn't expecting it. Let's just put it like that. Like it's not a bad thing. I wasn't expecting it. You don't hear it, a whole lot. It's one of those things. It's like for me, and it's a funny one for me because I had a few people ask me about it before. But my favorite color is actually purple, like Baltimore Raven purple.
Oh, well, yeah. That tracks. That definitely tracks.
But it's funny because all of my stream stuff is, like, the pink.
Yeah.
And, I was explaining it at one point to one of my buddies, and because he asked, like, why didn't I have everything, like, the Baltimore Raven purple? Because that's my favorite. And I was like, because pink, black, and white are the three colors that just pop no matter where you are, what you're doing, or anything. If you see those colors together, it pops and it catches your eye. And that's what I want. And that's what I did. So like it was 100% like a marketing sort of thing. But since then though, it's like, yeah, now pink's starting to move up there now.
And I definitely get it color scheme wise. And then like even recently you did the great thing of portraying the StoopGhost persona. And I told you to make it pink because I also love pink. So like pink, blue, gray, and it's also because I love Steven Universe. It's one of my favorite shows. Okay. And the main character, Steven, he has an iconic, like, organic jacket that's like made out of organic material and it's pink. And I actually have it. Yeah, I actually have it. Yeah, I have it. It's on the back of my chair right now.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I actually have. I don't think I've ever shown you it. I actually have a Reinhardt winter jacket that I wear all the time. And the only way you can tell it's a Reinhardt winter jacket is it has that it's the lion head, the Reinhardt lion head. It has that on one of the sleeves.
Oh yeah.
If it isn't for that, you don't know it's a Reinhardt jacket. So that's why I bought it, because I was like, this is the sneakiest Overwatch product that I own now.
I kind of love it like that, kind of like the simplicity and symmetry of things when it doesn't really scream that it's one thing. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I bet it looks great.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll send you a picture at some point of it.
Yeah.
But all right, so talking about topics tonight. So as always, I have my guests pick the topics, and Koopy Boy gave me about 50 of them, and we narrowed it down to these. So the topics for tonight are Dragon Ball Z, Batman, representation in media, and water.
Yeah, water. How about that one?
I told you, man. I told you I was going to put it on there. The funny thing is there's a kid, there's a guy. Of course, I'm going to call him a kid because I think he's younger than I am, so therefore he's a kid. On YouTube, and he does a lot of Apex stuff. And his intro is, "Hi, name's Water." So as soon as you said water, that was the first thing that popped to my fucking head, is that intro, because it's the same every time. It's just a monotone voice of, "Hi, my name's Water."
I love that. I love everything having to do with water.
There we go, man. We'll find out later. But for right now, we're going to talk about Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon, pump the dragon, Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. So I actually have a Vegeta Funko Pop up there, where he's doing the goddamn, now I can't fucking Big Bang Blast, I think it is.
The Final Flash.
Final Flash. There we go. It's Final Flash. I was trying to think of what it was for a moment. I got Final Flash. Yeah, no.
My boy Vegeta. I actually gave my Speaking about Dragon Ball Z and Vegeta, and you having a Vegeta pop. Actually, I think that's kind of funny because everyone in my life is kind of much more a Vegeta person than they are a Goku person, and I love it because. And as this podcast goes on, you're gonna figure out that I'm about the Goku slander. I'm about it. I'm very, very much about it. And
I found it funny that the day that you told me about that you picked the topics in the first two was also the day that you went on like a 70 fucking tweet rant about Goku versus Batman, I think it was, or something like that.
Well, okay, there were two separate rants on Twitter, one of which was about Batman, and the other one of which was a thread, and I see these threads all the time, and they're tiresome, and I want to get to them, but this story about the Vegeta Pop, I had a Vegeta Pop in my Pop collection, and my dad really values collections, but he really loves Vegeta. We hang out, and we listen to Vegeta's theme together, and just make merry, and I gave him that Pop. I put it down in his office while he was sleeping, and he found it, and it just touched his heart. He was like, I can't take this from you, from your collection. And he truly loves Vegeta. So my dad also has a Vegeta Pop that was formerly mine, but it's just the the normal one. It's him in the Saiyan arc. So yeah. So yeah, fun fact: all the people in my life are Vegeta people.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't really have any Goku people.
Man, my thing with Goku's just such a goofy fucking character, bro. It's hard for me to so of course, little backstory for me. I'm not a huge anime guy, right? I think we've realized that over the last couple of weeks now, because every one of my guests has been an anime guest almost. And even next week I'm going to be talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I should have picked that. I'm literally the largest Avatar fan on the planet. Fuck. I should have picked that.
We'll stop by next week when me and Jackson Atlas talk about it.
And it's Jackson. Then nice. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there.
But no, so it's been funny for me because like I said, I haven't really been into the anime. I watch animation, the American animation. I've watched Batman the Anime Series, the old school Spider-Man, Young Justice, the Harley Quinn animated. I know animation, I just don't know anime. And it was funny because Dana gave me a good ass whipping about that one day when I said it's all the same thing.
Ooh, oh my boy.
Yeah, that was early in me knowing her, and she fucking ripped me a new one, and God, that was fucking funny for me. So since then though, I've started like getting into it, but I found out though that like so I have watched anime and Dragon Ball being the main one, but it's funny because I started watching it, I was really into it, and then I just stopped at one point. Tried to get back into it and completely didn't understand what was going on, and I just like, at that point I was like, nope.
Okay, so like what were the points here? Like what was your stopping point versus your re-entry into the Dragon Ball universe? Because I completely sympathize with that because it is a little wonky.
So,
It is very wonky.
I will say this: there's two animes that I've touched since basically let's say streaming since I started streaming, right? And I've realized the difference and everything. There's two animes that I've touched, and both of them have been suggestions from Dana. The first one was Death Note, and then the second one was Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, she didn't recommend One Piece?
No,
as I live and breathe, that's insane.
well,
And it was
well,
great.
I think it's because she knows who I am, and I've seen bits and pieces of One Piece to know I don't think that's my thing.
Oh yeah,
You know,
understandable.
so I think it's that. I think she's she's been very on like because even Hunter x Hunter, she was like, I think you might like it. I don't actually know if you will, but it's something that I could see you potentially liking. And it was one of those things where like I first put it on and it was like, yeah, this is kind of it's all right, it's cool. Animation's cool. The
Yeah,
all that's cool. And then because it was new and it was like background noise, it just kind of kept going. And I like every week or so I'll watch like 2 or 3 new episodes, like that sort of thing. Now,
okay, so circling back,
yeah.
Where did you stop watching Dragon Ball versus
So
where you re-
I started watching Dragon Ball originally right at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. And then I went back and rewatched Dragon Ball. And then I stopped right after the Cell Saga.
Okay, so that is
Wait, hold up a second. Wait a minute, hold up a second. Was Boo after Cell?
Boo is after Cell.
Okay, so it was after the Boo saga then, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go on record right now and say that the Cell Saga is in fact the superior villain saga in all of the Z mythos. I'm just gonna say that now.
All I remember is that I remember watching the Boo stuff, and then I stopped watching it, and then I came back at one point, and it was like futuristic. There was a fucking it was like in the future, and there was like a giant monkey, and it was like Super Saiyan like 9, and they had like red hair and like face paint. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just looking at it. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Who? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are referring to Dragon Ball GT.
Okay.
And GT is we don't talk about GT, and there are several reasons that we don't talk about GT, and it's actually really great when you get to talk about this because GT was a very hands-off experience for a lot of people involved, but there was like this like general idea, like a theming idea that kind of just didn't work out for the entire mythos, and that is Goku was to cease being the main character of the Dragon Ball mythos.
Okay, so who was going to take over?
The torch was supposed to be passed on to Gohan.
Okay.
You get a lot of these themes in the Buu saga. He comes back with the gi. You know what I'm saying? They unlocked his mythical abilities, and he's ready to run Buu's fade. But then, for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's fan loyalty. There are a lot of theories, but that was axed, and Gohan got waxed. Bars, didn't mean to rhyme that. And still rhyming. Wow. I'm on another level today. I'm in a flow state. And so with this, the idea with GT is that Goku essentially leaves his family to train a reincarnation of Buu.
Oh.
Yes, he wished for Buu to be reincarnated as a human because he was like, I think that might be a good person or a good combatant. And after these events, oh my bad. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No. You're good. I'm just thinking that doesn't seem like a good wish.
No, because we never said that Goku was a smart man, and so he makes this wish, and Boo gets reincarnated as a character named Oob, which also kind of rocks because representation media. He's a brown boy, and it was like the verse like brown boy. It was great. It was awesome.
Oh, that's who that fucker is. All right.
Yeah, Oob is a reincarnation of Boo. And so Goku was like, all right, family, bye. I'm going to go train this guy. I'm going to take him back to his home village. So he just left his family again, as he constantly does. Mm-hmm. And post these events, he gets turned back into a child to try and reinvigorate the interest of a younger protagonist for a younger audience, I guess. So he gets turned back into what is essentially Dragon Ball Goku.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Right here. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets turned back into a kid, and it's his adventures of trying to not be a kid anymore, and none of it is canon, none of it is real. It all happened in the Mirrorverse, and we don't talk about it.
Okay, good. So let's talk about then the good shit, the Dragon Ball Z shit. Yeah, no, I mean, I used to be a big fan of it, but then it was one of those things where, like I said, like I came into the GT stuff, I guess, then or whatever, and it was like, I'm gonna go to Super Saiyan 19, bah! And then it's like the Super Saiyan Blue, and the Super Saiyan Gold, or the Super Saiyan White, or the Super Saiyan, like.
Great.
I just like at that point I'm sitting there like, okay, timeout, really? Like this is like it's almost like the Pokemon thing, right? Like it's like, okay, they've gone with the colors. What is it going to be next? Sword and Shield. Oh, are we going to get Gun next? Like
I'm still pulling for it. I still want Pokemon Gun. I still want that.
I choose Pikachu. I choose Glock.
I choose Glock. I choose the Blick. I choose the Blick. And going along with what you said about like, it's Super Saiyan Red now it's Super Saiyan this and that, and that is true, and that trend that didn't go away. It didn't go away. It wasn't fixed with Super. You know what I mean? It only got worse, actually. Progressively worse.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, cool. So, like, okay, so Super Saiyan, they get stronger. Cool. Super Saiyan 2, they get bigger and stronger. Cool. Super Saiyan 3, okay, they're bigger, stronger, and they actually, like, I thought it was really kind of, personally, I thought it was cool when they, like, I forgot who it was went to 3. I think it may have been, did Trunks ever go 3?
The fusion between Goten and Trunks gets to go to 3 because of simple math. They're both hybrids, so when they fuse, their DNA allows them to ascend to Super Saiyan 3.
All I remember is
Goku was the originator of it.
Yeah, because someone went to 3, and they were fighting, and they were like, oh shit, I'm actually slower because I'm bigger. And
no, that's not 3. That's not 3.
Which one was that?
Trunks. Okay, so this is Trunks and his hubris, and something we can definitely continue to talk about. The thing about the Super Saiyan scale is that with Super Saiyan 2, with Ascended Saiyan, you can ascend to a certain level where it's a true Super Saiyan 2. What you're talking about is kind of like a Super Saiyan 1.5. It's like it makes your muscles big, and you are stronger in a raw sense, but you move so slow that you're never going to hit your enemy. Yeah, that's like almost a direct quote from like Goku himself.
Because I remember when they did that, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this, and I'm like, that is like, because this is like high school Husky. I'm like, that's actually really fucking cool to see that. Because yeah, if you're a bigger, more muscular guy, like yeah, it's going to be harder to fucking move that fast. So I was like, the fact that they just put this in like a cartoon, I was like, that's fucking wild.
The general consensus of that form was that, yeah, anybody can do that shit. That's why Vegeta didn't. And Cell roasted Trunks for thinking because he powered up and because he got more muscular, he could win, but he didn't realize he was so slow. Cell was he was the GOAT, man. He was the GOAT.
Cell was the villain where I feel like almost every good iteration of shows, whether it be anime, animation, movie, television, there needs to be one season, one villain where you honestly, wholeheartedly believe the villain will win. And
I agree with that.
And Cell was that character for me. Like, up until that point, Like, I didn't think, and then Cell showed up, and it's like, okay, so what's Cell gonna do? Oh, Cell's literally going to just, like, kill a bunch of people. Cell's then going to absorb a bunch of people, technically killing them. And then Cell's just gonna be like, cool, I'm setting up this fight night thing over here, like this fight club thing, but I'm actually gonna tell everyone about it. And just bring your shit, boy. And he just beat the shit out of everyone. And I'm sitting there watching this, just, like, episode after episode of him just beating the shit out of everyone, like,
and
like,
it's not looking good for our heroes.
It's like,
it's not looking good for our heroes.
Well, right? It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is this how the show ends? Like, is this how the whole thing, like, they're just wrapping Dragon Ball up right here and just kind of, yeah. I mean, like I said, that's my thing. Is like, I always feel like and that's why I say good, because there are shows where they have bad guys, and it's just like you can obviously tell they're gonna get their ass, like, completely beat.
Yeah, and going along with that, and kind of circling back to the buff, like, forms and the forms and stuff like that. That's another thing about Dragon Ball that is just totally irksome, is that everything about, like, their power and their power level and how their power grew became pretty much completely arbitrary and obsolete. And it was super quick. And it brings out all the power scalers and people who want to argue, and they talk about all these arbitrary numbers that mean nothing, because each Super Saiyan iteration has a legitimate, like, mathematical multiplier. Like, they're real numbers, and in the data books it'll tell you these numbers and what the multiplier is, but they're completely arbitrary, because it's at some point it's literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions of power level units, and it is completely meaningless. Like, once you get to the blue thing, is actually called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. That's its traditional name. What? Too much.
Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan?
Yes, because Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God are two different things. They're not the same thing. Yeah, Super Saiyan God is a form that is achieved through a completely different means.
Do they turn green? Like, I mean,
No,
like,
it's red. It's the red. It's the red one.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, it's the red one.
I guess my, like, oh my god, just, like, literally just fucking say, cool, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan Blue now. Deuces. Like, I mean,
well, see, that's what they started calling it. Like, they said they started calling it Blue. I think they kind of got self-aware with it, and they were like, its name is technically Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, right? But, like, we just call it Blue for short. I think they explained it in the Tournament of Power, because he was showing it. He was showing the form to someone else, and he explained what its name was, and then he was like, but we just call it Blue for short. So they, like, canonized that, because they know that the name is fucking obnoxious.
Bro, just imagine, like I can only imagine being, like, a new, like, baddie or, like, person in a fight, and it's one of those things, and it's like I'm sitting there, I'm about to get in the ring, it's like, I'm about to whoop this dude's ass, like, let's get this thing going, and he's like, I'm gonna turn blue, and it's like, fucking, what'd you just say to me?
Like, what? What's this? What are you gonna do? And a lot of Dragon Ball really is just that, and that's the, like, and I think that it should be said that I didn't want to talk about Dragon Ball Z because I am, like, a mega fan of it. That's not why. I more primarily wanted to talk about Dragon Ball Z and its effects on every fucking thing else, and how it's incredibly just. It's annoying, and I also wanted to shine a light on the fact that Toriyama is not a good writer. Period. I'm going on record. I'm going on the books. He's not a good writer.
I love the. You've obviously heard the dubs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the dubs of fucking Piccolo teaching Gohan. I fucking love those dubs. God damn it, Gohan!
Yeah, there are several things about Dragon Ball that just really shine a light on anime as a whole, and it usually comes from the fandom. And here was the thing with Z: we can say I'm gonna say, are you referring to Dragon Ball Abridged?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah.
Thank you, John.
At first, you had my attention. Now you have my erection.
I want to see him have sex.
Go Snapper! Oh, yeah. Okay, and this is good because this is good. Dragon Ball Abridged did it better than Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, 100%.
They did it better.
100%.
And I watched that shit constantly, and this kind of gets to it. What I was going to say about Dragon Ball Z as a whole, it is hype. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, when it was this pure thing that you were watching in your youth, and these motherfuckers are just screaming so loud that the earth is shaking. Like, bro, you're not eating your cereal. You're watching these motherfuckers scream so loud that the earth is shaking.
Well, I love
you know what I mean? It's so hype.
And I love the other one, as well, like the, Goku reaching his hands up. Everyone of the earth, I need you to give me your energy. It's like, there's some dude in, like, West Virginia looking out, like, hearing that, like, fuck you, dude.
Dude, I guarantee it kills me that there was never kind of like a meme where when he asked for energy for the spirit bomb, that it showed somebody and they were just like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, nah.
I need my energy for me. Why should I be giving my energy to you when I need my energy for myself?
See, it should have just went to like a dude in like a bed just pounding someone, and it's like 5 minutes. You can have it in 5 minutes.
Or just not at all. Speaking of pounding in Dragon Ball Z as well, so in Dragon Ball Abridged, Chi-Chi, the implication is that Chi-Chi was using her time because Cell was like, yeah, I'm gonna blow up the planet, it's gonna end, and she used her time to get another kid out of Goku, because technically Goten was conceived during the chaos of what is going on in the world, and I think that is very funny. Another fun fact about Chi-Chi and Goku's sexual relationship: they've never kissed ever. They have 2 children, and they have never kissed. Yep.
I love the one in Abridged where Vegeta like blasts a hole in the fucking like ceiling of the apartment, fucking Bulma, and it's like, did you use a condom? Oh, what?
Oh, what? Oh man, Dragon Ball Abridged was such a success, and it portrayed the series again the way that we viewed it when you came onto it, because when you're rewatching Dragon Ball Z without the rose-tinted glasses, you kind of start to realize some shit. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, Piccolo blows up the fucking moon.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, did I think that was hype when I was a kid?
There's like literally episodes of Piccolo just beating the shit out of a child and like leaving him in the freaking desert. Like, yeah,
and then you also realize that Goku has actively left his family several times. They're just like, okay, but am I to look up to this character? Well, like was this what this is supposed to be?
Well, it's like, I love that as well, but like I love the thing as well where it's like, okay, it's like, who has Goku actually beaten?
Who is he actually beaten in like a 1v1 scenario?
Yeah, it's like you look at the list and it's not that large.
It's not incredibly large for the 1v1 scenarios. I believe that he beat Pycon in a 1v1. And I don't think anybody even knows who Pycon is. Nope. I don't think that I could say Pycon and you would know who they are. So unless like you're like somebody who knows who Pycon is, probably not.
Because my thing's like, okay, he didn't beat Frieza because Frieza killed himself. Didn't beat Cell.
I mean, but that was hubris. He could have beaten Frieza. So I'm going to give him that W.
Nope.
That was hubris.
Nope, I don't give it to him.
All right.
There is nothing in that fight that says that he wins that.
I mean, he did. He waxed him like in a combat sense. And then when he was clearly defeated, Goku was like, I'm going to give you a chance to turn your life around and get off of this blowing up planet. Because Goku's an idiot. He's an idiot. I think that Super Saiyan Goku is definitely taking Frieza to the cleaners. Super Saiyan Trunks cut Frieza in half.
Oh yeah.
Well, not in half, in many pieces,
Yeah, into little pieces.
in the little
Can
bit.
we
So,
talk about how when you first watch the show, that is the most hype fucking thing ever is seeing Trunks show up out of nowhere?
oh my god! So listen, the little before he does the Maseko Ha, he does that crazy fucking unnecessary hand thing,
Mm-hmm.
and when he brought his hands together and did the Maseko, I was like, bro, I think this might be the hypest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was such a Trunks fan for so
I feel like
long. I still kind of am.
oh, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I feel like everybody, as soon as he showed, just the way that he showed up and what he did, like immediately everyone's kind of fandom slowly started to move towards Trunks, and then some people kind of stayed in the middle. Some people went there full, and some people went back. But like, yeah, no, I mean, it's just like I remember watching that when I was in high school, and I was like, damn. Like,
But then
God,
the Gohan fans came in
out of
droves to what
fucking
Gohan got to do.
nowhere, bro.
I mean, but okay, so the Trunks thing was hype. But okay. So when when he first ascended, Gohan is the first ascended Saiyan, which is, I think is funny. A hybrid was stronger than true Saiyans in the moment. When Cell stomped on 16's head, and Cell's like, yet another fighter you could have saved. And Gohan fucking pops the hell off and kills the Cell Juniors. I'm telling you, maybe in my adolescence, I had not yet known what an orgasm felt like, but I learned.
I learned.
That day, I learned.
Later on in life, I looked back and went, oh, that was the first.
That's what it was. That was the first. That was the first one. Yeah, and then Gohan punching Cell so hard in the gut, he threw up biomatter that he assimilated.
Mm-hmm. I remember just watching that fight, and I'm sitting there like, really, this is who's going to beat him, and I'm watching and be like, oh, this is who's beating him. Like,
yep. And then the classic. Everybody loves the classic of Goku giving Cell a sensu bean before he fought his kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. There are a lot of sins. Are you seeing how I feel that Toriyama's not a good writer?
Oh,
are you picking up on that now?
you mean the fact that the main character of the show is like, oh hey, ultimate bad guy, here, take this bean to make you feel better so you can beat the shit out of my kid.
My son, yeah.
Kid, have fun.
And then he gets the dog shit beat out of him, completely dog walked. And what kills me is that the entire fight, Gohan is trying to warn Cell. He's like, listen, bro, I don't want to do this. I am a pacifist. If you keep pushing me, I'm gonna fuck you up. It's a matter of time. That's why my dad did this. He did this because he knew I was finna pop off. And Cell was like, being horny. That's all Cell is. Cell is horny. Every time he sees somebody powerful, he's like, "Yep, oh, that's what I want."
Nah, bro,
that's what I want.
The clown dude in fucking Hunter x Hunter is horny. That dude creeps me the fuck out.
Ahsoka.
I don't know what his name is. I just have random names for people. Clown dude that has the random Spanish music that plays, but he sounds French or something like that. I forgot which way it is, but
what is it?
Like, nah, bro. Like, he's sitting there. And it's like suddenly, like, there's a strong person. He's like, "Oh, I'm feeling so hot." I'm like, oh, "Okay, turn this off now."
And he does sound exactly like that. But the thing about it is that it's mostly like kid related. Like it's mostly
fucking
obsession
weird, bro.
with like Gon and Killua. And
I think he just punched me. I'm so hard. It's like, okay, I'm on a watch list now. Thanks, guys.
I'm on a watch list now.
Appreciate it.
I think we've just about covered how hype Dragon Ball Z is as an idea, but my point is that in practice, Dragon Ball Z is not. It's not what people think it is, and that's why I feel like Dragon Ball fans become really, really emboldened, and they think that the characters within this mythos are the strongest characters to have ever existed, and I'm like, that's just not true, and that all comes from the idea of Dragon Ball Z, how we feel about Dragon Ball Z. what it made us feel as kids. You know what I mean?
I just love the fact that like one of the very first villains that most people are introduced to is Vegeta, and then when you look at the series moving forward, Vegeta is the most well liked, loved, and favorite character of almost the majority of fans. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's almost as if you like imagine watching Batman the animated series, and everybody like doesn't like Batman, but everybody loves Joker.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just not possible at all. At least not in Batman the animated series.
Oh yeah.
I'll say that. But yeah, that's how I feel about Dragon Ball Z. It's just that the idea of it really skewed the way that people look at it practically, and it did a lot for anime, but it caused a lot for anime fans and the way that things work as well.
Well, like that's like you were saying. That's always the thing. Is like you always see, oh well, Goku could beat the shit out of an alien, and it's like, why is that even a thought that is going through your head right now? Why are you thinking of like the like the space alien versus Goku? Why is that going through your head? I could easily beat the shit out of it. Not the point.
Well, see, and here's the thing about that is that these hypotheticals have become really popular, and I tweet about them all the time. And Dragon Ball fans really instigate that shit. And you referred to one of these Twitter rants, and it was because it was trending. It was Alien X versus Goku. And this has been age old. It's been age old. People always put Goku up against beings that they just shouldn't do. Because they're just like, he's Goku. Of course he wins. He's Goku. Of course he wins.
I'm gonna put Goku up against Dr. Manhattan.
Like, why would you do that? And then just talking about versus Alien X, and this is Ben 10 we're talking about. Like, let's be honest. Like what? You know what I mean? Alien X recreated the universe more than once. He's multiversal. That's not you. And all of these terms come from Dragon Ball Z: multiversal, planetary, celestial bodies, and it's just really causes strife. It causes strife.
Like my thing is like you could always go to like the Ant-Man fucking theory with that argument, right? Like the you know what I'm talking about with that, right? Like the Ant-Man theory.
There are many Ant-Man theories.
So the main one of him going up Thanos' butt and then just expanding.
Up his butt. Yeah. Yes, up his butt and expanding.
Yeah. So I mean, what's like gray matter? Is that the one where he turns into a little like alien dude?
Yeah, he's a genius little alien.
Yeah, dude. Turns into an alien dude. Goes in Goku. Boom. Turns into the giant shard dude. Goku's dead.
Or turns into forearms, or Humongousaur, or way big. If he went up Goku's butt and turned into way big, Goku would turn into dust. Or he could turn into atomics. Or it's like I know a lot about Ben 10 too.
I'm just saying, it's
So there are a lot of things, and it gets really cheeky, and it fuels a lot of really great conversations. And there's obviously a lot of love for Dragon Ball Z, and it was a gateway for a lot of people. It was a gateway for a lot of people.
I would have been the person that's seeing all that, would have seen that going on, and then I would have been like, Hercule could beat Alien X. And then and then just watch the fucking chaos happen. Just type that and just enter. And we wait. And my phone is now exploded.
I'm gonna say and that's that kind of happens with Krillin. People put Krillin against entire universes all the time and say that Krillin wipes. They say that all the time. It definitely is. Dragon Ball Z is a shitpost. That's gonna be that if you take anything from this, take from this that I believe that Dragon Ball as a whole is a shitpost. That's what you should take from this.
Like my thing with it is like Dragon Ball Z, whatever the fuck you want to put it. Vegeta, in my opinion, is the best character in the entire fucking thing. Best arc out of everyone.
I still believe that, and his arc is still good. His arc is still good.
And that's the thing. It's just like that's the best part of it. Everyone like almost universally would agree with you on that, and if they aren't, most of the time it's tongue in cheek. But still, like there. But it's always the thing of, oh, it's Goku or it's Gohan or it's Krillin or it's fucking, Android
Well, actually,
16, in naughty websites or,
naughty websites. And see, I have two honorable mentions for this that are going to be kind of controversial as well in terms of like the best arc.
Mhm.
And I think that you might be inclined to agree with me, even if you don't know like the particulars of it.
Okay.
Vegeta does have the best arc. He comes the farthest, and even currently, we're not going to talk about manga stuff, obviously, but just know that his arc is still continuing.
See, that's
He's
fucking
still
awesome.
going to new heights and doing things differently than Goku just being handed shit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Goku's handed everything that he
Mhm.
has. Two other characters that I think really made a life for themselves and had a great arc. And the first one is the most controversial because everybody's going to hate me. Gohan. I think Gohan's arc was great because Gohan never wanted to be a fighter.
Mhm.
He wanted to be a scholar and a dad and a family man. That's what he fucking wanted. And now that's what he is. And he can still throw hands. He got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But people will hate it because I do hate how they did my boy Gohan. But this is the life that he wanted. And I think that that's admirable that he got that. And then Android 17. I'm going to say Android 17 also had a great arc. All he wanted was a boat and go out on his boat with his family, dude. That's all he wanted. When he came back, and he became a park ranger, just like how he wanted to be.
See, I didn't even realize he came back. Shouldn't.
He's back. 17 and 18 are both back.
Wait,
And
18.
they played him.
18 was the bird dude, right?
No, 18 is the one on the naughty websites.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, 18 is the one
So
on the naughty
16,
websites.
the one that I said about earlier that I said was on naughty websites. Yeah, no, that's the bird dude.
No, 16 was probably also on naughty websites. If you think about it. I mean, you know about Rule 34, but yeah, 17 and 18 come back. They played a huge role
I knew 18
in the Tournament of Power.
I knew 18
Yeah,
did, but I didn't know
came
17
back. He was a
did.
park ranger.
Oh,
Yeah, he was a park ranger, just kind of chilling. And then they were like, "Yo, we need you for the Tournament of Power." And he's like, "But I like being a park ranger." And they're like, "Yeah, but you'll get a fat ass wish. You'll get a super cool wish if we win. But if we don't, the entire universe is gonna get erased." And he's like, "Well, I don't want that because I want to go out on a boat with my family. So I guess I have to fight now." But he ends up being the one who wins the Tournament of Power. And the whole point was they wanted everyone in the universes to learn a lesson, I guess. I don't know. It's not clear. The writing goes off the fucking rails. The point was if you assemble a team, and if your team gets pushed off of the fighting stage, you get eliminated. And if your entire team gets pushed off the fighting stage, your universe gets erased.
Oh, okay. That seems fair.
Yeah, your universe gets erased. And the point was to trim the fat on universes, right? So long story long, 17 ends up being the last man standing, so he gets the wish, right? But when he got his wish, he didn't wish for a boat. Nope, this fantastic gentleman didn't wish for that boat and to go out on that boat with his family. He wished to unerase all the other universes that perished during the Tournament of Power. And then the super god people, there are super god people now. Husky, I just want you to keep up. There are two all-powerful beings that can close their hand and erase the universe. And there was one beneath that. He's called the Grand Priest. And he's like, "Oh, y'all figured it out. If y'all didn't wish to replenish the universes that have been erased in this tournament, we were just going to erase all of the universes anyway because you guys suck." So 17 is the reason that, the universe that we follow in the Dragon Ball mythos still stands.
That's weird. Another arc where Goku doesn't do it, apparently.
Well, actually, technically, yeah. I mean, because the object of the Tournament of Power, I mean, he did team up with Frieza at the end. Yeah, no, he didn't win a 1v1. He hasn't won a 1v1. Actually, no, he won the 1v1 against Kefla. He does have a 1v1 dub against another opponent. She was a fusion.
Oh man. Well, let's move on to the next topic, where it is a guy that does win 1v1s, and that is and that is Batman. And I love the reason why you picked Batman. I fucking died laughing reading the thread that you fucking had. So I'm just gonna let you explain, bro. Like I'm gonna let you explain why we're talking Batman.
Okay, so hold on. First of all, you need to give me a second to at least look at the thread really quickly and just kind of like skim it. I know that it I know that I'm kind of holding it up here, but where is
You're
it?
fine.
Where is
You're fine. Take your time. Speaking of
I'm just gonna
speaking of Batman, we get Batfleck back this week.
Ooh, I'm so hyped. And we're gonna talk about Batfleck too. I want to have a conversation. And since we're talking about Batman, we can. And so the first tweet that I found about that Batman that Batman thing was, I think the Batman thread could be a stand-up bit, and I do believe that. But the whole reason why I wanted to talk about Batman is because I thought to myself, does Batman ever just go, I should have just shot this fool? I should have just shot him. Like, does that ever cross his mind? Because if it were me, and if I were in half the shit that has ever happened to Batman, I would just shoot them. I would just say I would shoot them.
Well, that's right. It's always one of the funny things, because always, no matter what, at some point, if you get into talking to either a DC fan or a Batman fan, eventually at some point that gets brought up, and it's fucking awesome.
It does. And my point is that, okay, so this tweet reads, I'm just gonna read it. It's, by the third time Joker dangled one of my adopted children over another vat of acid, I'd have just shot him. I would have just shot him. And that's pretty much the essence of it. And it also kills me because every other iteration of Batman, or someone that could stand on his station, who has had this moment and thought I should just shoot them, has done it.
Yep.
Has done it. So like, what? Thomas Wayne, he was like, I should just shoot him. Soviet Batman, I should just shoot them. Jason Todd, my boy, I'm going to shoot them, and it's only going to take me 45 minutes to do it.
Well, and that's,
so like, why?
Well,
why, Bruce?
So I think that of course, I'm going to go to the animated, because I think it's stated more in the animated than in the actual comic of it. But Under the Red Hood. And Under the Red Hood, he has a great line where, and also, let's, first off, Jensen Ackles being the voice of Red Hood.
Woo! Chef's kiss, right? Chef's kiss, right?
Oh, 100%. But like in that, like he's talking like, why didn't you kill him after what he did to me? This, that. Why didn't you do that? And he has like a line in there that's something along the lines of like, you don't think I wanted to? You don't think I've thought about how many times I want to kill him? But doing that, crossing that line, I physically don't know if I will be able to come back from it. And I think that that's the biggest thing with it, is that he knows that as soon as he kills one of them, he's not going back. He's killing all of them. And it's that, that's the line that's always stuck with me for that argument, is that one line. Because it's like, you can see it. It's been done, as we said, it's been done in every other iteration of Batman, right? He kills one of them. He's crossed the line now. There's no going back. You can't unkill. You can't unkill Riddler. Like, as soon as you kill him. I mean, obviously you can with Lazarus Pit, time travel, all the different stuff. But still, right?
See, yeah, but like, this still kind of remains in my mind, and I agree with that. I've seen Under the Red Hood several times and heard that line several times, and I get that. So I would point out at the second to last tweet in the thread reads, "It's a moral compass, isn't it?" LMAO. And the following says, Mr. Wayne, here's the deal, and I'm going to tell you. Morality is overrated. Shoot these people, please.
Well, like, that's
my opinion.
And that's one of my things that I think that is kind of, it's different, right? Because, like, of course, like you said, right, if any rational person, right, the Joker has terrorized every single member of your family multiple times, Other than Dick, right? And Dick Grayson's the only one that he hasn't been able to torture. That's why he hates Dick Grayson the most, by the way. Don't know if you knew that.
I do. I did.
But like, so like any normal person after like the second time, it's just, Joker shows up. Ooh, hello, Batman. The cock of the shotgun.
Shoot him.
Done. Like,
End it.
But I mean, it's one of those things. Like you got to give him some credit though. Like comic Batman, you got to give him some fucking credit. Like he very rarely snaps. He recently snapped in one of them, and it was in the Joker Riddler war in the comics. There's a scene where like it's either he goes to like stab the Riddler, or he goes to like throw like a fucking batarang at the Riddler's face, and the Joker literally puts his hand in the way, so it stabs the Joker in the hand. But like Batman was like, yeah, like he was pushed to an edge at that point, and he's like, I'm just gonna fucking kill him. And Joker's like, no, you don't get to do that here.
Because that's some very Joker
That's the thing.
Antics type shit
right. Like,
and I'm not giving him his roses for sticking to his moral code.
mm-hmm.
That's not my point with this. There's an even larger point to this, and this is another reason that I love Batman. You know what I'm saying? This is another reason why. Well, I can't say that he's my favorite DC hero because everybody who knows me knows that it's the Flash.
When this was one of those things, like, let's be honest. Batman is most people's favorite hero. However, because he is everybody's favorite, we just have other favorites.
Okay, so you hit the nail on the head. Okay,
right.
That'll probably be the most quotable thing from this entire podcast, what you just said. Because you said what was on my mind and needing to rationalize why I mentioned the Flash in the first place. And I think it's really cool that you caught that, because that's very true. I've always loved the Flash, but I grew up idolizing Batman, absolutely idolizing him. So it wasn't the same effect of having another favorite hero. So I definitely get that. And it's not that I'm not giving him his roses. It's that like I'm examining it, and sometimes you have to examine stakes and what exactly you can do proportionally to match these stakes. And I think that Batman has always done a fantastic job of finding another way, finding an alternative that fixes the problem that also matched the stakes. But sometimes the stakes were too great, and you should have just done it, because who is going to beat your ass about it? Bruce Wayne, and every other iteration of Batman for that matter, has proven time and over again that no one is going to beat their ass about doing something like that. The only person who wants to keep them in check is our boy Clark.
And even then, Clark's a little bit scared of that.
Exactly. And they have this conversation every time they sit down for fucking coffee, and I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. But at the same time, I just examining the stakes proportionate to what your action would be or should be when you're Bruce Wayne, the Batman. It's just that I shoot him.
Fucking shoot him.
Dude. And then there are alternatives. There are alternatives to completely move people from play, but he has famously not been cool with using the fucking what is that stupid cannon called? Superman loves this stupid thing. There are so many negative zones now.
The Phantom Zone. The Phantom Drive.
The Phantom Zone. I'm gonna say Batman has famously not been cool morally and or just like contingently with sending people to that place. Because
Superman's like, just beat the shit out of another villain. Yoink. Deuces. Have fun there.
Yeah, exactly. But there are other ways that you could permanently remove someone from play. Like, for example, if I had the means that Batman has, and I had the connections that Batman has, and maybe I have a sock in my mouth on this one because maybe he's tried this, but I don't think he ever has. I would do what they did to the eco-terrorists in Avatar: The Legend of Korra, which is they made prisons for just them. These people were so dangerous that they had individual offshore, off-record, off-books, like prisons that were designed to keep just this one person in it. And there are very few things that Joker could have done that I would not have done to make that for him. I would have done that for him. I would have been like, yep, I'm just going to make you a place where that permanently removes you from play that doesn't exactly compromise my morality or my values, because I didn't kill you. All I did was remove you from the chessboard. Now I don't have to worry about, killing my family, torturing my family just to get to me. Now you're somewhere out of sight, out of mind, and I don't have to think about you. Like, it baffles me that Joker ended up in Arkham as many times as he did.
Oh, I mean, it's one of those things, right? It's like, damn it, the Joker broke out of jail for the 19th time. No shit. Then why do you keep putting him there? I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it right now. I could be 100% wrong with this, but
because I feel like I would know if he had done this.
Well,
I'm no slouch.
So it's not even Batman. It's Damian.
Oh, well, see, that makes sense. That's something Damian would do.
So I think it's been a while. I need to get called back up reading again. But I remember at one point Damian in a Teen Titans run was like capturing villains and like trying to like cure them / like basically just like what's the name of the fucking operation that you do on people where you just turn them into like
lobotomize.
Yeah, he was like basically like lobotomizing villains. And like nobody knew about it. Like he was just like kidnapping villains and just like zzz, like
removing them from play. And props to Damian. Maybe this is speaking to my moral compass. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, how many times can you try Batman? And then I'm like, this is Batman, right? This one of the hardest motherfuckers out. How many times can you try this guy without real consequences? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, there have been very few people that have suffered very real consequences at the hands of Bruce Wayne, but that's also a testament to how much of a genius he is. So it's one of those catch-22 situations for me as a fan, I guess.
When it's one of those things where, like, I always feel like, Bat's always he's always forefront, right? Like, that's one of the things that a lot of people kind of hate a little bit about him, is that he's always forefront in everything. But, like, I think that it's one of those things where the reason why he's forefront is because there is so much that you can physically do with him. You look at the most recent thing that they did in the Dark Knight's Metal series, right? Where they literally just said, what if Batman loses his entire family, goes to the Flash, and says, hey, Flash, bro, can you just, like, go back in time and bring back my family? And Flash is like, nah, I can't do that, dude. So then, what if Batman's now so lost at this point that he goes and kills the Flash's rogue gallery, steals all of their weapons, captures the Flash, ties him to the front of the Batmobile, which is now pimped out, by the way, with the Cosmic Runner, and just goes, bro, if you ain't gonna do this for me, I'm just gonna take your speed then, and just fucking floors it until he becomes, Red Death. It's one of those things, like, did you know that?
No.
So this is a whole new series. It's called Dark Knight's Metal, Dark Knights, and it's basically it's part of the negative multiverse, where everything is. So we have now the multiverse, and we have the negative multiverse, where everything is corrupt and broke and like bad. So there's one book of it where it's called Red Death. And that's the name that he takes after he does this. But yeah, so he goes to the Flash and he's like, bro, like, I need you to bring back my family. And Flash is like, no, I can't time travel. You know what that shit does. So he's like, no, I need you to do this. And Flash refuses. So Batman beats the shit out of the entire rogue gallery for the Flash, steals all their weapons and uses them against the Flash, knocks him out, ties him to the front of the Batmobile, she's pimped out with the cosmic treadmill, floors it, and he just goes into basically the the Speed Force and destroys Flash, and the Flash's Speed Force goes into Batman, but Batman has the Flash's voice in his head, and he's known as Red Death. So they
fucking bet. See, this is beyond shoot them. This is beyond that, sir. And I would like to say that is the energy that I expect. That is the energy that I expect.
So they did this with all of them, though. They basically just said, what if Batman was Aquaman? What if Batman was Superman? What if Batman was Wonder Woman? Like, they did it like that. So, like, the Batman that is in the Wonder Woman stage, it's like there's a war against the gods, and Wonder Woman dies, in quotations. So Batman kills Ares, puts on Ares' helmet, and becomes the new Ares. Like that sort of thing, but he's still Batman. Batman fights Superman, and he's losing against Superman because Superman has kind of gone evil now at this point. So Batman pulls out a Doomsday Serum and injects himself with it, becoming a Doomsday Batman, and kills Clark.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I need to be. I need to be a little bit more into alternates too, because like, okay, now that we're here, and we're capturing the energy that I wanted to capture when talking about Batman. I would like to talk about Soviet Batman for a second. So Batman from the Red Sun.
Yep.
My favorite. I have a lot of favorite Batman moments, but I think my favorite Batman moment is him just really tuning Superman's ass up. Just really tuning him up.
Go ahead. Sorry, cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I was going to say the one thing that really, and this is going away from the Batman part of it for a quick second, that upset me with the animated movie they just did of it was the fact that they didn't show the ending of this in the book. That's the only thing that pissed me off about the animated movie. Because in the book, their planet becomes so advanced that it becomes Krypton, and then they send the baby off. That's how it is in the book. So the book is like everything that happened was on Earth, but it turns Krypton situation, and they send the savior off. And like that's in the book, and I saw that, and I was like, "That's a really cool fucking ending."
I'm gonna say that's full circle.
Yeah. So that's why they didn't do it in the movie, and I'm sitting there like, "Damn." I mean, it's an adult movie, but yeah, no, the Soviet Batman. Movie. Oh, Soviet
Batman. Oh my god, man. Oh my god, man. Like him from a child to just full blown terrorist. So full blown. Like, I'm going to bring you into this room with some lamps, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you. It was fantastic. I was like, that's the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when he's pointing at the screen. Like, that's my Batman. That's my Batman. I like that.
So,
it's mine.
So there's two other Dark Knight ones that I'll go over real quick with you because I think that you'll like them. The first one is the Aquaman one. So in the Aquaman one, they gender bent everything.
Oh, well.
So it's Bryce Wayne. Not Bruce Wayne, it's Bryce Wayne. And his husband, I think it's Sam Kyle, who is Catman.
Well, yeah.
So Atlantis tries to take over the Earth. They actually invade and they kill Catman. And Batman is so pissed at this point that he wants to go fight Aquawoman, and of course, so he goes to fight Aquawoman, and to fight her equally, he has to change his body to Atlantean. So she basically fully augments herself into an Atlantean, and goes down there and beats the shit out of her, and takes over the Trident, and becomes like the new ruler and floods the Earth, sort of thing.
Fantastic.
And then the final one, and this is the one that you're gonna like, is the Batman who laughs.
Oh well, yeah. Well, of course I'm hip. Of course I'm hip to the Batman who laughs.
So, now do you know the whole backstory though with it?
I don't know the entire backstory.
So
I have the Cliff Notes version in my head.
The Joker basically goes on a full rant, killing everyone. He melts Gordon's jaws off. Like, his jaw melts it off. Fully pushes Batman to the edge. Batman snaps his neck and inhales the Joker fumes. And there's a bunch of little Joker Robins everywhere. And Superman and him are talking one day. And Superman's like, a bunch of them got out and killed a bunch of elderly people. And Batman laughs at it. And that was kind of like the first part of like the something's wrong sort of thing. So Batman gets the entire Bat family together to tell them that, like, hey, something's wrong, and then guns them down. And then he goes to find Clark, and he injects Clark with, I think it's red kryptonite. It's something like that. And he basically just watches Clark kill his family. and then kills Clark.
Chef's kiss.
Like it's the most violent and aggressive thing I've ever seen in a comic book. And I'm sitting there and it's like, I'm sitting there and it's that thing of like, it's like people are complaining about Batfleck, people are complaining about Leto's Joker, and meanwhile we have a Joker melting people's jaws off. We have a Joker who's literally just like cut his face off. We have a Batman who in one of the books his dick's just flopping around. There it is, right there. Like you can see it.
Hippie.
But nah, yeah, let's complain about these, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, but see, here's the thing, and now we can finally segue into Batfleck.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, I just wanted to say that there are certain ways that I viewed the entire Batman situation, other than alternates, more so closer to the canon. You know what I mean? And how I would have handled the situation, and how that, in a way, makes me only admire Batman more. Like, yes, I would have done it differently, but it makes me admire him as a character and his arc more at the end of the day. Now I'm Batfleck. It's my favorite live action Batman.
Yes, facts.
It's my favorite. He's the best one. He's the best one. And I feel like I've had many conversations about this with other people that it sounds like the most blasphemous thing they've ever heard.
Yeah, as soon as you say it, you're wrong.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can say. There's no like scenario where you can provide a more energy or comic book accurate depiction or a timeline depiction or just why it makes sense or why he just looks good or why he just did well. Like there's nothing you can say that can be like logical and kind of concrete because it's not Christian Bale. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's not even Christian Bale's fault either.
No. So Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan were asked originally, from what I remember hearing, around Man of Steel time, if they wanted to be in the universe, if they wanted the universe to include them. And they basically said no, and that's why they went in a different direction. I love Batfleck. I think Batfleck is the best Batman we will get.
Agreed.
And the reason why, in my opinion, I think it's the best is because, and I've said this, I say this almost every single time I talk about DC Comics, movies, Batfleck, Batman, is the one line of him saying 20 years in Alfred. 20 years in Alfred. 20 years in Gotham Alfred. We have never seen a live-action Batman that isn't an origin story.
Yeah.
So the entire thing to everyone is foreign, and instead of trying to accept it or look at it with open eyes, everyone just was like, "Oh, that's not my Batman." It's like, of course it isn't your Batman because this Batman's been here for fucking 20 years. He's already lost a Robin who, in canon, for a lot of people out there that don't know, that's actually Dick Grayson. That's not Jason Todd. That's Dick. That's dead. And so he's gone through that. There's of course, it was in the Justice League movie, so who knows if it's fucking true or not. There's a line about penguins, right? Dealing with exploding penguins. But we know that there's a history with the Joker. We know there's a history with Harley. We know there's a history with Black Mask, right? We know these things just through what we've gotten so far. And
exactly,
it brings a whole new element that we're not used to. And it was one of the things that I was talking about at one point with one of my buddies, Jeremiah. Before the Robert Pattinson stuff happened, before, the Justice League stuff, before that happened, and they were announcing there was going to be a Batman movie, I'm sitting there and I'm like, awesome, do a trilogy. And it's the easiest fucking thing to do. Do a whole trilogy where it's forward and backwards. Where you have the future, like the present Batman, and something happens, and he's like going through like he's like doing an investigation thing, right? Like he's trying to be the detective that we know, and something reminds him of something, and then the movie cuts back to when he was like 2 years in, 3 years in, and the whole movie now is at that point. Because then what it does is now we have two Batmans. It lowers the weight on Batfleck, on Ben, so he doesn't have to do as much. Right? And we get a completely new backstory, and we can introduce villains, introduce all these characters who are like year 3 guys, and it's now 20 years later and they're still around. And I was like, you can easily do that, and that's how you can do Hush. What was the 3? I said Hush, Death in the Family, Under the Red Hood. And I was like, that's the 3-movie trilogy you do. And you set it up as a past and a future thing, or a present days thing. So then you can get multiple actors, you can get all this different storyline stuff, you can introduce a ton of different fucking people. And I was like, and at that point, at the final movie, like it's fucking like hands off, there you go. You know?
I mean, and that's all you really need. And then when you think about just how dynamite those storylines are, first of all.
When that's the thing, right? Is like you introduce these things, which are concepts and stories that people don't, outside of comic people, they don't know these things. So if you start introducing things, because I would do it as like kind of like the order I said, I would do Hush first, so then you can do Death in the Family second, because there's no way a Death in the Family movie would be one of the worst ones. Right?
No.
Because it's always normally the sequel and the trequel. You know, the first one's always normally the best. The second two kind of slowly start to go downhill.
I would say the second one drags, and then sometimes the third one brings it back. And for me, I would say that was me personally, and this was something I wanted to say about Christian Bale. And in the Dark Knight trilogy, I like the third movie the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Bane, so there's that. There's that bias.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about Christian Bale and that not being his fault, and it wasn't just that. I think that people were such fans of Heath Ledger's Joker that it started to permeate into how we view the character Batman on a live screen.
Yes,
you know what I mean. I don't think, like, just from an acting standpoint, I do not think Christian Bale matches up.
No.
I don't think he does, just from an acting standpoint. And seeing Batman as a veteran Batman is the best possible Batman I think we could have had on screen. I think him from the beginning is something that is a tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean?
When it sets up a really unique thing as well, right? Because we see it, and it's 20, like you said, like I've stated multiple times, 20 years in Gotham. So he's been around for 20 years. At this point of him being at 20 years, Superman has just become real, and all of these other people are just becoming real. So it creates this really unique setup, right? Because you get all these characters that are brand new, but then you also get this entire lore and history that's been around for 20 years. So
that can also help augment the entire cinematic universe as a whole. Exactly. And it would display the franchise in a way that it's never been displayed before, in a way that is kind of the reason why it continues to fail when it looks at the MCU. You know what I mean? You don't have those kinds of depictions in the DCEU. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's that's the thing that I think that the Snyder Cut that we get this week will change a lot of things.
It's gonna be big, baby. It's gonna be big, baby.
Warner Brothers has really fucked themselves over actually with this whole thing, in my opinion. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on March 19th. March 19th, right? Yeah, March 19th. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on March 19th, the day after. Because...
The aftermath. We're going to be standing at ground zero.
Well, yeah, it really feels like it to an extent. You see how much they're putting into marketing on this fucking thing. You see that, and then also you see the fact that, like, an executive leaked the movie. An executive switched the codes so that when if you tried to watch Tom and Jerry, it showed the movie. You know, and they fired that executive. They had the whole we're rebooting Superman thing. You can't tell me that's not a smoke show to try and get the limelight off.
It looks and feels a lot like a smoke show. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, and these kind of things.
The funny thing is right, and the funny thing for me is the fact that, like, this stuff was happening, and you see the fans that are, like, excited about Justice League, we caught on to it immediately, and it's one of those things where it's like, nope, you don't get to do this to us right now. Like this, like, try it. We are not having this. Because it's like, we know what's happening. We know what's going on right now. Right? They thought that they would just release this movie and that's it. Right? End of it. You guys are all, happy now. Haha, there you go. And no, this movie's happening. It's releasing, and it's just gonna create a fucking tidal wave that they're going to have to
It's
continue.
going to happen.
I
It's going to happen.
I don't.
And the thing about it is that once you start to really, and this all comes back to fucking Batman somehow. I think when you start to display, just like in simpler terms, when you start to display what can really be flexed here and how monumental this could be, you can't just you can't break a dam and then repair it. Once you blow it up, it's done. You know what I mean? And the demand for these kinds of things are going to be incredibly high, especially when we see when we get to see Ben in this cut. I think that it's going to reignite a lot of shit.
One, it's you hear a lot of the talks, right, as well as what's going on, what's happening, and it's one of those things where it's you see all these different cuts, you see all the different things, then we see the stupid shit of it's oh, well, he's really big, or him saying, oh, I hope I'm not bleeding, hope something's not bleeding, the stupid shit that they had him saying compared to what we're seeing now. And then you find out oh, by the way, the movie that he wanted to do that he eventually didn't do because of all the backstage bullshit that was going on, him and Joe Manganiello, who's Deathstroke, they wanted to have a scene.
I fucking love that and love him.
They wanted to have a scene that would be as equivalent to the Arkham series fight scenes. And recently, they released a pop-up studio in Texas where you could go in and take a look at the different outfits. And someone got a picture of the Deathstroke uniform or outfit, and on the blade there's a symbol. And they were like, "Wait a minute!" It's what is the symbol? And it's is this a Ra's al Ghul thing? And someone was like, hey, you guys finally caught it, that sort of thing. And then Joe actually came out and said, first Easter egg found. And it's one of those things immediately where it's wait a minute, what?
It's one of those GG moments.
Exactly. It's there's that, and then it's of course, and this, how beautifully we just roll into different transitions. This goes into the whole Ray Fisher thing with accountability over everything and representation in media.
Oh yeah,
right, just rolling right into it.
Oh wow, you see how it works. You see how it works, right? and that is something too. And it's good that we kind of got off Batman and into Justice League, because it didn't even hit my mind the things that kind of went down with that, and I was kind of media silent on it, but it is really important here too, because when I thought of this, I was going to talk about something else, and now I'm completely drawing a blank. But the way that I see it, this happens all the fucking time.
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time, and it never stops happening. And it really does kind of put it. It puts a fucking it puts the foot on the proverbial throat of the kind of representation we like to see in media. You know what I mean? And it was a big deal, but again, I was media silent on it.
At first, I was kind of like, look, he's a fucking actor, he's making all this money, he's gonna get his, his kind of opulence, he's gonna do this and that. And then the more and more I found out about what had happened, that was when I kind of officially was all right, I've now looked into this, I now know what's going on, I get it. This is bullshit. I hope to God that he sees, what he deserves, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And this whole the whole situation that's been going on about it, because there was, what was it? At one point they were like, oh yeah, well, he's just upset because we made him say booyah. And he's sitting there that's not it. He's like, am I upset that I had to say booyah? A little bit. Because if you look at the premise of the movie, I lose my mom, I lose my dad, I lose myself, just all of this stuff, and it's you see all that, and it's it's at this point, it's yeah, why would he say booyah in the movie? I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. They should have had it so after he scores a touchdown, because there's the football scene, he scores the touchdown, then he says it, because then it's a throwaway line, but it's still in the movie.
I'm gonna say, and it still kind of tonally works.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it still kind of tonally works. And what I'm saying about these things always happening, and in terms of Ray and all of this is that the second that a black actor or an actor of color wants to say something is the second that everything just goes completely awry, falls completely a fucking apart. You know what I mean? And it kind of really overshadows the importance of, you know, some kid was in a theater somewhere and saw Ray Fisher as Cyborg and was like, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. They're like, oh, fuck, I can be in the Justice League too. It's just hella important. And these kind of negative things always permeate the purity of that. You know what I mean? And the way that these movies should be at the end of the day, the way these films should be, the way that this media should be at the end of the day.
Exactly. And it's one of those things as well that, like, because of course, you know, with me being a white male, I don't really think about it too much, right? Because it's just it's always fucking there, right? And it wasn't until like there was a few things recently. The first one I think was Constantine. In the show, they were like, we're gonna start having him be more bi, and I'm sitting there like, that's bullshit. And then I was like, that's bullshit. Start grabbing the comics, start reading through the comics, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole fucking story arc right here where he's literally with a fucking boyfriend. Holy shit! Like, you know, it's like, okay, put the book back. Never mind, I was wrong, and I will gladly say I'm fucking wrong. You know, they announced Dreamer, and it's like, this is gonna be the first transgender person, and I'm sitting there like, and of course this is Supergirl, and Supergirl has done I'm gonna say a terrible job of trying to include the feminism and trying to include the gay relationships. Like, I feel like they've done a terrible job with it, the way that they've done it. So as soon as I heard that, I'm sitting there like, is this an actual character, or is this another thing that they're trying to just force in there almost? Looked it up.
And it's a slippery slope.
And that's the thing is, like, I looked it up. There is it is a transgender person, a transgender superhero, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then I found out that they actually hired a transgender actress, and I'm like, awesome, that's fucking cool. Like,
I was really hype about Dreamer. Really hype about Dreamer, man. That was like one of the only things, and I was hype about that because I was like, fuck yes to this, because this is what you love to see. But the thing that really, again, talking about permeating it in representation, representation in media is that a lot of the time, sometimes the way that it's used seems kind of like it's being used in a really poor way. Like, see, we did it. Here's your gay character. Damn. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's not how that should be. You know what I mean? That's not how that should go. I'll give you an example of this. Yeah. There's a character in the Voltron remake. There was a Voltron remake. Okay. His name is Shiro, and he's like known as like the dirtiest done like animated gay character ever. All this man does on screen is suffer. Just suffer. Like, they don't give a shit about this character at all. And then at the very end of the show, they show a still of the fact that he gets married. And they show him they show him and his spouse in a still at the end. And you're like, oh man, you guys, did you really care about this character? Did you really care about representing a character that someone could look up to and be like, I'm like this person. Holy shit, I can do cool stuff like that. Or, you know, get tortured and cloned and lose my loved ones. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like the one there was two that got me in Supergirl, right? And it mainly comes down to Supergirl. Supergirl's the one I've always had the issue with, and there's two that mainly was. The first one was the fact that they pushed the feminism thing, but they did it in such a weird fucking way. Like, it's like, you know, they were pushing, like, you know, like at one point they're talking about, like, you know, why is it Supergirl? Why is it not Superwoman? And like this, they did that whole thing, which I'm going to talk about the conversation I had with a fucking coworker about that blew my fucking mind. But so like they did that, but then one of the other things they did was they were like, nobody wants to be rescued by Supergirl. They want to be rescued by Superman. And this is this is one of the strong female characters in the show saying this, and I'm sitting there like,
oh yeah, I do remember this.
That doesn't seem right, you know. And it's like like I said, like I'm all for all representation. I think I think it's needed. I think it should be done well, right? I've always talked about how Wonder Woman did it beautifully. I've always talked about that because they didn't mention it. This is no man's land, and she crosses it. It's just a symbolism thing at that point.
Well, and then it's
right?
not even that. The thing about it is when in doing representation, when it's not for greed or like trying to like just really like virtue signal and like get your brownie points for being aware, I guess, is that when you do it and it's not a big deal that it happened. Like, I'll give an example. She-Ra. I'm going to say She-Ra. I'm going to say the She-Ra remake is pretty cool about it because everything that happens isn't a big deal. You're like, okay, cool. I, as a viewer and as a person in the audience, should be able to look at something and be like, that's cool that happened. I don't need you to be so heavy-handed with it that it starts to permeate the art, because then it becomes dishonest at that point. It begins to appear like you're only doing this because you want the benefits of being aware of these things.
Exactly.
And that's not how I like to see representation in my media. I like to be represented in a light that's nice and beautiful and truly genuine and honest. You know what I mean?
And that was the whole thing, like, because they did the Supergirl, Superwoman thing in one of the episodes. And I go into work the next day, and two of the girls that I work with immediately are on me about that. Why isn't it Superwoman? It should be Superwoman. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, should it be Beast Man instead of Beast Boy? How about Man Wonder instead of Boy Wonder? And they're like, that's not the same thing. I was like, it's literally the exact same thing as what you're saying.
But I think that the scope that they're lacking here is that it's a superhero alias. You know what I mean? It's I think is what is missing there.
When the funny thing is, like, so, like, I because of course, so I did that, and they're like, oh, you're just saying that because, and I was like, all right, type in Superwoman on the computer. So they typed in Superwoman, and of course, it comes up with the actual character in the show, in the universe, whose name is Superwoman.
Yes.
And they're like, they're immediately like, well, who's this? And I was like, that's Superwoman. And like that, no, it isn't. And I was like, yeah. I was like, there's a Superwoman, just like there's a Superman, just like there's a Batman and a Batwoman. Like, I was like, this is how it is. You know, I was like, they're not just doing it.
There's a Batwoman and a Batgirl.
Yeah, like, you know,
like it's the alias,
and like it's like that was one of the ones that got me with Supergirl, going on my little Supergirl tangent.
And I get that, and just like I'll give you another example of just like representation in media that was just rad, that I thought was cool. I watched this anime called Haikyuu. People should peep it. It's about volleyball though. It's pretty awesome. And there's a character named Ojiro Aran, and he is a black boy who is just damn good at volleyball, but they never pointed it out. He's just a well-designed, he's well-designed. It's not overt or caricature-like or anything like that. He's just a black high schooler who lives in Japan who is good as fuck at volleyball. And when I say good as fuck, he's compared to the best player in like all of Japan. They're like, if there was a character behind that, he's probably as powerful a spiker as this dude. But it was never like this huge thing. They do this with another character too. His name is Lev. They only mentioned that he came from a different country because he's like, I think he's half Swedish and half Japanese, because they were only explaining why he was so tall. He's like 6'5" or something like that. But it was never this thing where it looked like a caricature or something like that. And that's really evolving in anime too, because anime is really, really fucky about this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it's been evolving, and this character really put that on my radar. And I was like, this is dope.
And it's one of those things that I find funny as well, right? Because like you think about it, and like you said, it's like it's kind of fucky, right? And it's all based, like if you think about it, it's all based off where people live. Because it's one of those things that I always hear where it's like, I was like, oh, well, this isn't like this in this country, and it's like, like I grew up in England. The amount of stories I can say about the different ways that people are viewed there when I was living there, anyway, is wild. But here, though,
I've known a lot of people who've lived in different countries that have talked to me about some regional behaviors. I have a friend who currently lives in Australia. I have a friend who's lived in Germany. I have a couple friends who lived in Germany, and there are some things that happen over there that they've told me about that I'm like,
yeah, it's like,
and they're like, these things are just normal. These are just normal things, and I'm like, oh, that's
no,
yikes.
no. The one that you were going to talk about, and I remember this now, is you were going to talk about the Blue Ranger.
Oh boy!
I got you.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. That shit flew me to the fucking moon. You mean I get to see the Blue Ranger, a black boy, a black man on the spectrum, on screen in a good remake? I nearly did a backflip off a cliff. I was like, yes, this is amazing. This is great. And the movie was so good, but it was never a big deal. It was never a big deal.
And it's funny because you say that, right? It was never a big deal. It wasn't until you mentioned it that I picked it up. That he was on the spectrum.
He says it in the film.
I completely, it must have glossed over me or something when I was watching it. But it wasn't until you said it and then I rewatched it and I'm like, oh shit.
Yep.
That's fucking cool.
It was so cool. I felt so, the feeling was incredible. It was really rad. And seeing something that was like, I loved Power Rangers, man. I love Power Rangers. Any self-respecting person should love Power Rangers. And it was something that I really grew up on. But like,
go Power Rangers.
My favorite is Turbo because I was that child.
See, I'm an OG boy.
Yeah, we talked about this. We've had this conversation. But seeing the series evolve into something that can display things like that and not have it be like that, and then have somebody like me see it and be able to address it and register it without it being a big deal. Like, and I'm being like, yes. And I got to be excited about that. I got to feel represented. You know what I mean? And then that's how people should be able to look at things in media. They should be able to look at it and be like, I feel that. I feel that. This was not for you. This was for me.
Exactly.
There are other things for you, but this one was for your boy or for your girl or for your person. Exactly. You know what I mean?
And I think
that's a great feeling.
And I think it's great, and I love the way that it's been going recently as well, right?
Yeah, it's been going fantastic.
You have a lot of them that have been going very well, right? It's very hard to pinpoint some of these that have gone, kind of poorly, almost
poorly, like really shittily, and it's been great. A lot of it has been very positive. I will say this: I think it's a product of pop culture. And like, I hate to call it nerd culture, but for lack of a better word, people who like these have become interested in this. We're multiplying like fucking crazy.
Oh, I mean, it was like it's, and I've talked about this with like my friends before. Where it's like, you go back to like college Husky and tell him that in 10 years you're gonna have over 700 fucking comics, collector edition comics, comic books is going to be your main thing. You're going to be streaming. You're going to be playing all these different games that you never would have played before because that's not who you are. Like, that sort of thing. I would have been like, get the fuck out of here. Like, who the fuck are you? But like, going into this stuff, and I talked about it on the podcast with, God, now I can't remember who it was. It was one of the more recent ones. Recently I talked about it with someone about like what got me into DC Comics. And, it's like, going from college where I was like, I was always around the college guy, the football team. I was around the boys. I was, always going out to parties. I was always around people doing stuff, to coming back home where it's like, I'm with my mom and dad. I don't have any friends from high school anymore. The closest people that I have to friends are my coaches that are like I'm coaching with, which is weird because they were my coaches. So I don't feel comfortable around them yet. Going from that to then like, okay, I'm going to buy a comic book, and I buy Aquaman, and it's about a dude from two different worlds, and he doesn't feel comfortable in either one of them. It was a really eye-opening book for me because like, it was kind of like, shit, I feel like that. So that was kind of my first almost introduction into kind of that feeling of, representation.
Feeling like you're represented somewhere, feeling like you can identify with a character is just the importance is it inspires youth to do crazy shit. It's fucking proven. It's proven, my dude. Like, somebody who doesn't feel like they can see themselves in a fantasy or see themselves somewhere else isn't likely to associate those kinds of super feelings that it sometimes takes to take on large things in life. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sure there was a kid out there that has watched something and saw themselves in it, and it inspired them to, I don't know, get an A on a test because now they feel like they identify with something that is super. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
I mean,
it's just it's cool.
well, I mean, it's like the Indiana Jones thing, right? Indiana Jones comes out now, and that pushed an entire generation of paleontologists, archaeologists, adventurers. One movie series.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's evolved to this thing to where, like I said, nerds and geeks and people who like this stuff, they're just multiplying, and the more people that are coming into this lifestyle, into this way of liking things, they're all kinds of colorful, wonderful, beautiful people. You know what I mean? But they're not always represented where they should be, but they're talking about it. They're creating a forum for it, and they're being themselves unapologetically helps this kind of stuff trudge along. You know what I'm saying? And all of the people should be welcome in all of the places is what I mean. And that those seeing those kinds of people, beautiful people, get to feel that feeling is the best feeling in the world, and feeling that feeling is the best feeling in the world.
I'm trying to find it right now. Because while we're on the topic of it, the huge news from the DC announced this year was bringing back Milestone Media. If I'm making sure I'm getting this right here, DC Universe 2018-2015 interview. The line was finally revived. Yep, it returns. Okay, so I was right with that. That was one of the huge kind of things was Milestone coming back. For people that don't know,
Yes,
Milestone Comics was a black-owned, almost primarily, if I remember correctly, if not fully, all black superheroes.
Yes,
and it's back. Like
yes.
they're fully back. They're doing a Static Shock movie. I think there's
Yes, and I'm so hyped.
I think there's rumors of a Icon either show, or I think there was something I read at one point about that. I'm excited about it, man. I've been I was a huge fan. I mean, I like Icon. I think Icon is a cool fucking character, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, but like, a lot of people like Icon, surprisingly. Like a lot, that kind of took me off guard. Like when a lot of that news kind of started to blow. You know what I mean? There was more love for Icon than I thought that there was, and I think that was slipping on my part.
it was cool for me because it was during the what was it? It was the DC fandom. When they did DC fandom, they brought on the original kind of like the people who ran it. They brought on the voice actor Lamar. God, I can't think of his fucking last name now, and I feel like an idiot. Oh. He did the voice. He did the voice of Static. He did the voice of Aquaman. It was Lamar.
I can't remember his last name either, and I love him.
But
I love him.
They brought him on, and they brought
a voice acting seminar for him.
They brought on all these different, like all the people, and they were talking about these characters and everything. And I'm sitting there, and it's like they're talking about Hardwire. They're talking about the Blood Syndicate. They're talking about like all this stuff, and I'm sitting there like I completely had no clue what any of this was.
Yeah, Phil Lamar.
There we go, Phil Lamar. Thank you.
Yeah, Phil Lamar.
But yeah, I mean, like they're talking about.
I can't believe his name slipped my mind.
They're talking about all this stuff, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I feel like an idiot because I'm like, I only know Static. I like Icon, Static Icon, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, there's a whole like side universe here that I don't fucking know or like even knew existed. Like, who the fuck is Hardware? Like that sort of thing. And they're pumped about Hardware more than anything, and I'm sitting there like, this is gonna be cool. I'm excited to see what comes from this. And so far, it's been doing very well. But I could be wrong with that. Like I said, I'm out. I've been so
I've just been seeing a lot of hype recently. I'm gonna say I just saw a lot of hype. I've been seeing a lot of hype. I've been seeing a lot of like creation around it. It's inspired. If there's anything it's done, it has inspired a lot of creation. People have been doing concept art and not concept art, but fan art. They've been doing fan art like crazy. They've been it's cool.
The one thing that I will say, and this is kind of going off of the milestone thing, still staying with the black actors and everything, is the smoke show of them saying about the reboot of Superman, and a rumor / theory that I read online. As soon as I read it, I was like, please fucking make this happen. Okay, you ready for this?
What's up?
Michael B. Jordan is Superman.
I saw this.
However, this is the part they may not have seen. However, it's in Matt Reeves' Batman universe.
I did see this too.
So we have the Snyderverse and we have the Reeveverse basically going at the exact same time.
I did see that, and I saw a lot about it, but this is going to be me about it. I like Michael B. Jordan. I'm not going to say that I love him, but I do like him. So I just want to see that happen.
Yes.
But I just want to see that happen regardless of if it's Michael B. Jordan. But I did know that was happening. And
I agree. My thing is if they do it like that, that's the way I want them to do it, in my opinion. And personally, is I don't want them to reboot the character. I want it to be a brand new universe set in that Pattinson universe, because Pattinson's not that old, right?
No.
So
I think Pattinson's only in his late 30s. Right?
So why not build that up? Because as we all know, as we were talking about with nerds, multiverse.
Hey, baby.
Imagine Pattinson meeting Batfleck and Jordan Superman meeting Cavill Superman all on the live action screen.
I feel like that would be so sick. I feel like that would be very sick. I feel like that would be very sick.
It would fucking blow minds away, bro. Because and like I said, that's been one of my ones. Of course, and this is just a personal one, but this is the one where I've always wanted to see the Crime Syndicate live action, because I think that would be. That would be the coolest thing to do for one Justice League movie, make it just like the animated movie or similar to the animated movie, but cast actors that are very similar to the Justice League actors. So I've always said Matt Damon as Owlman.
Oh boy!
Right, because it's Ben and Matt. They're fucking best friends.
I feel like that would be kind of cool, and it kind of even works on certain levels when you think about Owlman.
And then I started thinking about it, and of course this one no longer works anymore, but I was saying Armie Hammer as Ultraman, because Armie and Henry kind of look pretty similar. Of course, now after the whole cannibalism thing, it's kind of
can't really.
That's probably not happening anymore.
Not. And speaking of Cavill, on the quickest tangent about Cavill, I would just like to say he is such a phenomenal Superman. Mm-hmm. I really love him.
I've stated it multiple times. I'm not a Superman fan, but the Man of Steel movie made me like Superman.
Oh, I'm not a Superman fan at all. The only Superman I am a fan of is the Soviet Superman. And Man of Steel made me like him in an isolated little incubator where I can say that I like Superman in this film. Mm-hmm. And so there are only 2 iterations of Superman I've ever liked. And it's not even because Soviet Superman is brutal. It's partly that, but there's just so much about Superman that I just can't stand it. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, no,
just not a fan. But I think that we've looked at how tumultuous representation in media can be, and I think we've also looked at how positive it can be and how well it is going, all things considered, right now, pretty much everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty hyped about that. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
It's good to see it going in the right direction, right?
Yes. Rather than having to see another shitty story. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I've said it I've said it before, like with when they cast and now I'm gonna fucking hate myself for not remembering this actor's name. Is it Jeffrey Wright? Is that it? Yep, Jeffrey Wright. They hiring Jeffrey Wright as
Fucking love
James
him.
Gordon, right?
Yes, I fucking love him, man. He is such a fantastic, phenomenal actor.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, Jeffrey Wright's been attached to the Batman. I'm like, okay, that's fucking awesome. And then it's like, he's James Gordon. And immediately I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but I fucking love it because he is a fucking fantastic actor.
He's incredible, dude.
And that's my thing, is that like I'm 100% okay with them switching stuff up like that, as long as it's someone who can do justice to the role, right?
If someone can do justice to the character, then yeah, I see no glaring issues. There are certain rights, and by rights I mean writs. There are certain things and certain ways that it shouldn't be done in the inverse. But you know what I mean? But mostly, and for the betterment of these things, I think it should be about if this person can do justice to the character, then we shouldn't have any qualms. But like I said, there are notes to that notion. But this is one of the good ones. Yes. Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright
is that one.
He's I mean, of course, my first introduction to him was in the Hunger Games movies. Personally.
Oh, and he was fantastic in those movies.
And then I started looking into more of his movies after that, because I loved I loved him that much that I actually went and looked into his arc everywhere, and I'm just sitting there like, holy shit! Like, this dude.
Yeah, I think he's in. I think he's in Westworld right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's in Westworld right now. I walked in on my dad watching Westworld, and I saw him, and I was like, I fucking love this guy. He's also played Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, I did not know that one.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor, man. I'll take him as anything any day, pretty much.
Oh, exactly. Really, yeah, I mean, it's just like there's certain actors like that where it's like as soon as they're announced in it, it's like done. Don't care what he's playing, let it happen.
Yeah, I don't care what it is, as long as I get to see them work their magic. I am so for it, so fucking for it. Exactly. But yeah, these are all such good things, man. These are also, and speaking of things that are good,
I was about to say,
feel good.
Look at you making the transition this time. I was like working it in. I was like, I'm sitting there. As soon as you said Henry Cavill, I was like, okay, we can talk about how he's thirsty, and everyone's thirsty for him, so they need some, Look at you. Moving on to our next topic. It's not the sneak on the bottle. It's what's inside the bottle. It is water.
Yes. I have been hydrating this entire time, and I just want to talk about it. I just want to gush about water for a second, and I want to talk about how funny this is. So I tweeted that the way that I feel about water is somewhat sexual, and Husky responded to me, and he said I will be bringing that up on the podcast, and so he sends me the thumbnail. He sends me the thumbnail for the podcast, and it literally says water, and it has a splash of water, and I was like, oh my god, he was dead ass. Like, I know I wanted that to be one of the topics, but I think that is so funny. Yes, I have an obsession with ice water. I like freezing cold water. My canteen's right here. I love ice water, and water is just very important in all forms, because I also think that the threat to the world, our world, I think that it lives in water. I think that the ocean is hiding some shit. I just want to go on the record and say that I have a weird love-hate relationship with the ocean. I always want to be near water and out around water, but then I also think I don't know for sure what the fuck is out there.
See, my thing with that is the fact of we know more about the space than we do our oceans, and that terrifies me.
I say that all the time. We know more about space than we know about something that is on our planet and takes up most of it.
That's
so what the fuck?
Yeah, that's just.
I talk about that all of the time. I talk about it constantly, and it kills me because I really do love water. I've always loved water, and not just ice water. It's full circle. This is a whole origin. This is a whole origin of just loving water, and I just have always loved to swim. I've always loved to be in bodies and around bodies of water. I think that water is like the most important thing, which it is, because hydration is the most important thing, and I love consuming it, dude.
I would say
Like,
I'm trying to look back to find the exact tweet now, and I've gone through just I'm looking right now, and it's just like I'm looking through my likes, and it's literally just nothing but these like Justice League stuff. And then the one time you were
for
like,
good reason.
well, then the one time that you were like, remember when Janet Jackson had her titty out?
Yeah, I remember when Janet Jackson had a titty out.
And then it's like I'm just still scrolling, like it's here somewhere. I fucking know it is. Like, but yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the water thing has always been one of those things I've always found funny and adorable with you, because it's like it's one of those things like it's everyone has like their thing, right? Like everyone
Right,
has their
yeah.
thing, and it's one of those things where it's
Yeah.
like freezing cold water. That's not a thing that I've heard people have a thing about before. Like,
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, and it's real, and you know what? It's kind of become this thing, and I've never really had this type of conversation about like streaming or like having sort of like a thing as a streamer. You know what I mean? Like a
mm,
not like an alias, but like an alter ego about it. There were two things. So I love to drink, right? Everybody who knows me knows that I love to drink. I love beer. I love to drink. Love it. And at first, I would crack a beer and everybody could hear it in my mic. And it's a kind of a thing between me and Mike from Letterkenny where we go, "Berta," and that kind of became like this associated thing on my stream to where cracking the beer is like, yeah, it's let's fucking go, right? But what people don't know or didn't know, and I don't remember how it started. That I was, I think I was in Emily's chat.
mm-hmm.
Well, we were in Discord and we were all hanging out, and I think that I just went on like a random tirade about how much I love ice water and how it is my favorite beverage, and it just stuck. And everybody's just like, "You got your ice water?" Like there was a point where I went to smoke a cigarette. And Trevor tweeted at me to remind me to refill my ice water because I had forgotten, and he tweeted at me to refill it. And every time I sit down, they're just like, "You got your ice water?" I was like, "Oh, you know damn well." And I got this fucking thermos. I want to talk about this canteen. I found this off the random, and it changed my life. It changed my life. It was in my house, and it changed my life. The water is so ice cold out of this thing that I feel like I ascend the mortal plane.
Oh,
Like I'm no longer here. I love this thing. I love this thing.
you gotta love
Yeah,
those ones.
I truly love this thing. Yeah, it keeps the ice. It's vacuum sealed, so the ice in it will be in there for like 16 hours. There was one time where I was like, I took a nap like the dead, and I woke up like 14 hours, 15 hours later, reached for this thing, and it was still completely full of ice and water.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was the most perfect thing that had ever happened to me in my entire life.
That is awesome. I love that.
I-
I see. I can't do unless it's. I mean, even then. I mean, like I'm not a big ice water guy.
Oh,
I'm a very simple man. Coop. I'm a very simple man.
simple kind of man.
I can put like 'cause of course I said it a couple days ago. I got 13. Okay. 13 of these fucking sneak bottles because every time they make a new one, I fucking buy it because I'm an idiot, right?
Oh,
So there's times when I just fill them all up with water and I just slowly drink through them. Takes like 4 days, tops.
I
Sometimes.
mean,
but like
that's pretty hype though.
but like that's like that like I just do I just do shit like that. Like I'm never like a big like it has to be this temperature. It has to be like this or it has to be like that. For me, it's just like nah. Like I just need water. Like I don't give a shit. Like I've sent pictures of it to different people. Like at my work, right? I work out in the back warehouse. Okay, we used to make glass and do all sorts of shit. So the fucking tap out there is like a garden hose tap.
Oh yeah.
That's where I get my water from while I am at work.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna. Okay.
Right. So to me, right, to me, like I'm just like I legit like I'm just like I as long as it's water, bro, like I don't care, as long as it's something.
I mean, the glaring. Okay. So you were bringing out some things that I thought I had repressed about water.
Oh no.
So I used to be I'm a very simple man as well. I think we've covered this
Yes.
on the podcast already. I'm a very simple man as well, and I've always loved water that much as well. Like you said garden hose tap, and I was like, it was like a that's so Raven moment. I saw and I was like, I used to do that shit all the time as well. Like it didn't matter if it was tap as long as it was water and I felt hydrated, right? But I don't know what happened, and I don't remember who I was talking to, but I think that whomever it was, I was telling them that I'm bougie now. Like I don't even, and this is how I'm bougie about water now, and this is how bougie about water I am now. So I have a tap at my restroom. Obviously, I can get water out of it, right? Nah, dog. I will get out of my bed and go all the way downstairs to my kitchen, and I will refill my canteen at the filtered water because I just don't want the tap anymore. I've just become bougie about water. Like my love for water has evolved to the point where like I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And
I get it because it's one of those things where it's like there's days out there where I'm sitting at it's like I'm literally only using this because I don't want to go up front. Like I don't want to go up to the fancy office, to get water, like that sort of thing. Right. But then there's other days when it's like, what, I really don't want to drink out of that fucking thing today,
Yeah, but and then it just kind of became permanent, and it's to the point where one of these days I need to get a bigger version of this canteen because this only holds 18 ounces, and it really bugs the shit out of me because I go through water quickly, extremely quickly. I've been taking extremely small sips because I did not want to get up to go get more water because I'm here on the podcast. I'm here talking to my boy, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna savor these sips. So what I do is I put some ice in here, I fill it up to the brim, I seal it, and then I get a separate solo cup, fill it with filtered water.
Okay.
So that I have a refill on hand for it.
So I have,
and that's what I did, and I've gone through both refills already.
So right now I have I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are filled up. I filled up 5 before the podcast. As everyone knows, I always have my coffee to start the podcast, right?
Gotta love coffee.
So it's like my traditional thing. I have a coffee to start the podcast, right? I've gone through one of the sneak bottles, and I'm working my way through the second one now.
Yeah, exactly. I went through both of my refills already, and I was like, man, this was, and I had hoped that I would be out of water by the time that we got to water as a topic, so that I could talk about it and how I legitimately miss ice water right now. It's strange, it's weird, and it is a strange quirk about me and my deranged love of ice water. And you want to know what's weird? My mom is the same way. My mom loves ice water. She loves it so much that she has a Yeti. She has a Yeti canteen thing, like water bottle, that she keeps it filled all throughout the night. I got this 2-cup system from her once I finally found this. So I don't know what happened. Maybe something genetically awoken in me that my mom passed on.
So here's
and I finally started loving ice water, dude.
So here's one for you. When I did my when I attempted my month-long fast, right, and I was just drinking water, the water changed taste during the fast.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense.
It was very weird because it changed to a very weird taste that I wasn't 100% okay with. And then after like for maybe like a couple weeks after I got done out of the fast, like it was like still that way, and I didn't like water. I was like I couldn't have water. It was weird because I knew I needed it more than like soda or juice or anything, and I physically just could not do it.
I
Like,
recall you mentioning something about just not being able to have water
mm-hmm,
when we talked about this in private too,
mm-hmm,
and it kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense, and that sucks. That actually really does suck. And I kind of feel that. I kind of feel that as well with how I feel like I can really, really detect the very subtle notes in water when I'm
mm-hmm.
consuming it. Like I feel like I taste it and then immediately like, this is not right.
You
And
can
it just kind of happened
mhm.
out of nowhere.
You can
And
kind of
once you
get that
talk it,
that different like
yeah,
this is bottled water,
yeah,
Cincinnati
oh
brand.
my god, yeah.
Mm. It was originally from a stream, however, wait, one more sip. They distilled it twice, like, and you immediately like, because bro, so for me, it's one of the funny ones
Oh
because
man.
there's always been a joke about the water in my town versus the water in the town next to us. And it's one of those things
Oh
where
no, really?
there's actually a different taste between the two waters. Because
Oh no, but dude,
if we go to the town over, if I go like with my family out to the town over to eat, I will not have water. I like refuse to have water.
oh my god.
Because
See,
like my dad joked about it one time and I'm like, yeah, fuck off, Dad. Like, yeah, okay. You know, this is your typical thing, like, oh, you won't like shrimp because you like shrimp and you don't want me to eat all the shrimp. Like, it's one of those fucking things. Like, yeah, get out of here. And then I drank some of the water and I was like, oh, can I have a Coke?
yeah,
Please?
no, and and you can be very serious about water, dude. Like I feel like if water is compromised, like and this is something that because okay, this is what I hate because people will roast me about water tasting like that distinctly different sometimes. The meme that's become popular is that like the Sprite that you get from a McDonald's is crispy as fuck,
Mm,
right? And like
mm,
I'm not gonna lie to you, McDonald's Sprite is crispy as hell. When I have a McDonald's Sprite or I get a really good cola from a fast food eatery that it comes out of a machine, sometimes I'm like, this is hitting harder than the
mm-hmm.
Pepsi in my fridge. It just is. I don't know what it is about it, but it probably has something to do that
There
it's a
is
syrup machine that makes it.
there is a actual because it's the same thing with because I'm a Coke guy. I like Coke. Hey Pepsi, like Coke. And there's the same
Oh
thing
yeah, no,
with
I love Coke.
and
I
there's the
love.
same thing with
I'm a
that.
Coke person.
There's the same thing with that where it's like it's like the way it's made in the machine or like the syrup or something. It's like it's yeah,
There you go.
100%. Yeah.
Yep, and I used to work at a movie theater,
Okay.
and I only worked concession, so I know all of these things. So I've worked in food service before, and I knew that like those soda machines were just really popping like that, and so they'll say that, but when I can like really detect the difference between my like okay, I'm so obsessed about water that the other day this is a real conversation my dad had with me. I come downstairs, right? And he was running the faucet. And like I said, I haven't been fucking with tap water lately, but he knows that I love my water ice the fuck cold. And I go over to the filter on the fridge and I'm about to put water into my canteen. And he goes, bro, I'm telling you, you need to fill up with the faucet today. Fill up with the tap. And I was like, why? And he's like, because the water line is freezing today. And I know that you talk about how cold the water line to the fridge is, and it makes your water colder, and you like that. But the outdoor water line is really, really froze the fuck up today, and the water is freezing. Touch it, touch it. I touched it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm in love." Oh, and I filled up with that, and it was frankly the coldest water I've ever drank in this house.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. It was really crazy. Like that's how people are now. Of,
It's 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 funny when people become aware of like the little niche things like that about you, where it's just like it's okay here, you know.
yeah, yeah, and it was really weird. And I was telling him about that kind of stuff too in the um we were watching a VOD of mine, or a recent VOD of mine, and I was telling him about how ice water has just kind of just been associated with my brand now. I
Mm.
guess I've become associated with ice water, and people have now seen my canteen. And this is probably going to be the like container that I use on stream like every time, just like the little things, you know what I mean? And I do love this thing. I have true sentimental connection to this
Mhm.
because it had a little Weight Watchers symbol on the bottom when I found it because my mom ordered a Weight Watchers sample box or
Oh, and
something
it
like
came
that.
like in there.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. She never unpacked it, and I never did either. And it looked too symmetrical on the wall where it was placed that every time I did the tidying up or something like that, I was like, I like where that box is, so I'm gonna leave it there. You know, my brain is square.
Mm.
Everyone knows this. You can talk about it on the podcast. Nice. And like, okay, so the box is there, and I'm like, cool, rad. I'm gonna leave it. And I left it for a long time. But one time I was doing the tidying up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find out what's in this fucking thing. I want to know. So I open it, and it's a bunch of Weight Watchers snacks and samplers and stuff like that. And beneath all of the bullshit and the rubble of this now expired food was this gorgeous thing. And I took it out of the and I was like, I looked at it, and I was like, oh my God, you guys know how badly I wanted one of these things. Mom, why didn't you tell me that one of these things came? And she's like, I didn't know that came with that box. So it had a little Weight Watchers insignia on the bottom. And I had just come from Third Eye, like one of those days sooner than that. And you know how Third Eye comics, well, you know how comic book stores will hand out like stickers and whatnot?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Third Eye gave me a sticker with a 20-sided die on it with their logo that looks really sick, and it's big as hell and completely symmetrical with the exact shape of this bottle.
Oh,
it was like
let's go.
fate. It was like fate. I was like, oh my God, like it's amazing.
Shit like that like lines up like that, I fucking love. I love the shit like that when it's like you get something and you put it on it and it's just like it fits perfectly. It's just like yes.
It covers the sticker is huge, but the little Weight Watcher symbol was kind of small. It took up a small hemisphere of the very bottom of the canteen. I thought I was just gonna have to deal with it, but then I remembered I had this sticker. I put the canteen on its back and I put the sticker on it, and it's perfect. It's insane. It looks like this is a branded Third Eye Comics
that's awesome
canteen. That's how perfect this fucking thing looks. I love it.
That's great.
And it keeps water ice cold, and water helps me sleep. It helps me cool down. It also emboldens me. I mean, some of the Reinhardt plays I've made over the time in history has been because I was emboldened by ice water. Facts.
Yeah, mine's just rage.
Oh well, yeah, I know. And you would think
mine's rage, but then also a thing of as soon as I see another Reinhardt, I take that as a physical insult to me.
Oh my God!
Like it's 100% like it's a challenge almost, and it's like oh my God! Like I just put up a video of my tank placements from this past week.
I saw the announcement for that, but I didn't see the link for it. I'm gonna go back and look at that.
Yeah, I posted that up, and in there's one match where it's on Volskaya, and we go into triple overtime, which we didn't know existed, by the way. Oh no, we went into double overtime, which we didn't know existed. We thought after overtime it just was like, "Hey, you guys tie, congratulations." Nope, there's another round. So we went into another round, and in it, like I'm just the other. Whenever I play offense, I played Rhine, and their team had a Rhine, and I just sent it after him every single time. Did not care about anyone else that was there. As soon as I saw the Rhine, I went straight after the Rhine.
So here's what I usually say about it, because I feel this way too. I get so fucking pissed. Like you can ask anybody I play Overwatch with. I get so fucking angry, and I'm like, every time a Reinhardt and I come face to face, I'm like, oh yeah, you trying to fight? You trying to throw the hands? All right, let's go, and we'll get to tussling 1v1. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm whipping his ass. And then every time somebody comes out the hut and saves his skin, and I'm like, see, nah, I'm not counting that shit. I'm after your ass. I'm now after your ass because you are a punk bitch. You are a punk bitch. I'm gonna chug this ice water, and I'm gonna be emboldened. I'm gonna rip your cheeks off your backside. And that has happened before. I'm telling you, man. I think that Reinhardt mains are just a hive mind of rage. I personally, I really do think that's what it is, and I've said that a couple of times that Reinhardt mains are just a hive mind.
Well, my thing with it in the past as well has been just the fact of I played offensive line my entire fucking life of playing football, so
that does track.
I have the protect mentality, but also the we're the only people on the field who are literally going to hit every single fucking play.
That also does make
sense.
So
it's like you put me in a first-person shooter game with a dude that's main goal is protecting, but also, by the way, he doesn't shoot people. He has a fucking hammer that he's going to hit people with. As soon as I saw that, that's actually the reason why I bought the game.
See, and here was the thing about that. I have that same protector, key protect mentality, and it didn't click for me with Ryan, but here was why. First of all, I'm not good at first-person shooters. I'm not. I'm usually there for the comic relief, moral support kind of role that might help people to victory. So I thought to myself, why would I play the melee character in a first-person shooter if I can't even manage first-person?
Exactly, right. You're thinking
in a raw sense.
You're thinking like Doomfist sort of thing where it's exactly. I got to try to time this shit up. I got to try and use these in combo. I got to know. Come on.
Exactly. So, and I had experienced this before in other games. So I was just like, all right, maybe. And I also heard that tank was one of the hard at the time that I started playing Overwatch and getting serious about it. Tank was the hardest role in it. At the time that I had started playing it,
I will still argue to this day the tank is the hardest role to play in the game. I will argue that.
A lot of people argue against it nowadays. So I was trying to keep the fires low. You know what I mean?
Nope. I will stoke those fires all day.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you though. Now that you've said it, and I looked at Ryan, and I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be super hard. Maybe I should just play other characters. But one day I played Ryan, and it was like the planets had aligned, and everything was perfect, and everything was fine, and I literally never played another character. On occasion, it is quite literally on occasion. I think I have 10s and 15s, maybe 20 times more games as Ryan than I do as every other champion that I play.
Mine is very skewed because I used to one trick sim for a lot of comp seasons. But no, when it comes to tank, it's Rhine, Ball, and then it's kind of everyone else. I've now these days started I play most of them, but I play Rhine. I play Rhine.
Well, I picked up Sigma at one point. But then even that fell off because when I'm not playing Ryan, it just feels unnatural. But I will play Sigma. It's either Ryan or Sigma, or I'm not playing anyone else. The only other champion in Overwatch you're gonna see me play is probably Moira. If I have to play another role and I have to play another champion that's not Reinhardt or Sigma,
I was gonna say to quote M, Dana, Charles, and everyone else who quotes you, Flickristing. I was expecting
yeah. Okay, so that's new. That's brand new. That is brand new, and that only happened because we started doing the pregame thing where you're in deathmatch.
Yep.
I picked Hanzo randomly, on the random because I was I want to just do something maybe a little fun, and the Flickristing I don't know. I don't know why
I
or where.
it fucking kills me hearing everybody like just like saying it out of nowhere. Like I'll be because I'll have like like I'll have M up, I'll have Dana up, I'll be lurking M, I'll have Dana's sound on. I'll be doing something on the other screen like clipping something or editing something, and then out of nowhere it just flick this thing. And it's like like the first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck did I just hear? And then like as soon as I started hearing it more and more, I would hear someone say it, and then I was finding myself saying it at my like just flick thing. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it was a random Hanzo pick, and I flicked the shit out of Emily or Dana. I flicked the shit out of one of them. Or wait, it was either Mike, Dana, or Emily. I can't remember which of the because that's who I was playing with, and I flicked the shit out of one of them like midair or something.
Oh,
and I said,
funny.
"Flip this thing," and it came out of nowhere, and I don't know why. It was Mike. It was Mike. Mike was midair, and I flicked his ass, and I was like, it came out of me, and I don't know why it did.
Fucking love
but it. It reminds me of two characters, Riley and Jonesy, and Letterkenny, when they were on drugs. When they were in the gym one time, and they kind of sounded like that, so I think that kind of like crept into my head.
That's funny,
and that's how flick wristing was born.
That's funny. Well, it's funny how little shit like that comes out of nowhere. Cause like, fucking me and my buddy Rob, who's in the video, you hear him. He's playing Mercy and Pocket Healing Me, and at one point he just starts randomly singing this song about how he's the best Mercy in the world, sort of thing. And then he's like, say it, Husky, say it, like that sort of thing. And I was like, fly to me, daddy, because that was something that I used to say with one of my other buddies whenever he would play Mercy. I would send it, and he would be like, oh no, you went too far. And then I would just say, fly to me, daddy. And so like that came out of nowhere back into it, and he was like, no, that's not what I wanted you to say, like that sort of thing. And I was like, well,
that's not what I wanted you to say.
That's what I said.
I feel like I definitely get it though, because I feel like I'm like I'm a meme wellspring in groups. It's very true. It's very true. It always happens by accident.
It's funny for me because I found myself like, it's funny because like during the podcast I'm very open. I talk a lot. I can go over stuff. I'm very interactive. In my own stream, you'll even see there's times when I'm very like kind of almost behind the scenes, almost like I'm not even the ones talking. It's like Jeff, it's like Rob, it's John, it's Josh, like they're all talking, and I'm just kind of here. And it's even more noticeable when I'm playing with people that I'm not used to playing with. Like I played with Xander and one of his friends, Miss Bad Decisions, last night, right? And I was quiet a lot of the time. I would say stuff every now and then, but I was quiet a lot of the time. The last time I played Overwatch with it was M, Charles, Dana, and two other people that I'd never met before. I was like quiet the entire time.
I've kind of noticed that though, because we have played. There has been a time where we all have been in Discord doing something, but it wasn't Overwatch, unless I'm tripping mega balls. It wasn't Overwatch. We were doing something. I don't know what it was, but you were way quieter, way less talkative than I had seen you in other capacities, and I was like,
it's one of those noted. It's one of those things where, and it's a two-part thing. One, I hate confrontation, so if there's too many people talking at once, I don't like it because I feel like it's a confrontation at that point. Like my brain kind of flips into confrontation mode. So like if there's a bunch of people talking, I won't want to talk because then I'm trying to talk over someone, which in my mind turns it into I'm trying to be better than them and confront them and like that sort of thing. So I just kind of I back off from it. But then the other thing is just the fact of like around either new people or certain people, I can kind of go very shy.
Yeah, but it was a stark contrast because the first time that I like vocally met you, it wasn't like that at all. There was there was a very nice give and take there.
It's very funny when people start to notice it because it's like it's very noticeable because like I think it was during when I was playing with Dana and everything. I think she's like sent me a message at one point like, "Are you okay? Like you're doing all right? Like you you're doing great. Like, don't worry about it, like that sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, because everything was fine. It's just I wasn't talking. But she was just so kind of weirded out by that like she like had to send me a message to like kind of be like, hey, you okay? Like that sort of thing, So it was a very it's a very funny, weird kind of thing with me, but like it's
But I understand it though.
Mhm.
I definitely get it, and it also comes down to just like how your environment is at the time and stuff like that. Because I'll get like that. There are a lot of weird, quirky things that people notice about me to where I'll give you like a really funny example, and this goes back to water, and I also think this is how water started being very well associated with me. It seems that every time someone else in the group is like drinking, or like they're like drinking, like we're doing a drunk stream, or we're getting drunk tonight, boys, and playing Overwatch, right? Which is usually what it is. It's getting drunk and playing Overwatch or Divinity or so whatever the group game is. Usually I'm just like, no, but I got my ice water though. But it takes them forever to notice. It takes like, because what'll happen is they're like, yeah, we're drinking. Are you drunk? Are you drunk? And I'm like, on ice water. I'm gonna say on ice water. I've been sipping that all night, and it's like one of those things where it's like, what? Coop's not drinking,
and then
that doesn't make any sense. So, and like, yeah, because realistically, like my behaviors are like, there's a very small contrast. So when everybody else is like cheersing, I'm just like, I have ice water.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah,
because I get just as hype about it. Realistically, I even fucking, it's weird, man. Ice water and beer. If I want to be satisfied,
I get it.
yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. This was a lot of fun.
I appreciate you having me so much, man. I can't believe we got through it.
Yeah.
Here we are at the end.
Do you have any last comments, last things you want to say? Anything out there?
I just want to say that this was an incredible experience, and Husky, you were a phenomenal host.
Thank you.
And I would also like to say that it went better than I expected, and I really enjoyed it. Not to say that you would have biffed it, but to say that I would have. So I really appreciate it.
I got you.
And I had a great time, man. I had a great time, and I appreciate just being able to talk about this kind of stuff on any kind of platform at all.
Oh yeah, I mean it's one of those things. Like, and I think I said at one point either to Charles or to Jagger that, like, we got to get multiple of you guys on at one time, because that would just be an absolute shit show of a podcast, and I would love it.
Oh yeah, big chaotic.
Chaotic. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
it
was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
For everyone out there listening right now, this is StoopGhost on Twitch. I will be leaving your link down in the description for everyone out there. Make sure to go follow my boy. Do you want me to put your Twitter on there too? Because that's I know that's one of your other very active platforms.
Go nuts.
All right, there we go. Go nuts. So we're going to go all nuts on this. So we're going to have his Twitter down there as well. Yet again, thank you so much, Coop, for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Well, no problem at all. Thank you so much for having me, man.
So for everyone out there, depending on where you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, stay out of trouble, stay safe, and we will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Deuces.
Thank you.